What's up, Yonkers? It's your host, Anderson. Welcome to City Talk, episode number 5. We have a pretty interesting topic tonight, a very much requested topic that we have started since before City Talk. We started this topic a year ago based on some complaints and people coming to us and whatnot. So anyways, today we have a topic of Empress and their 30-minute response times and who is Empire Strategic Planning. So we're going to start off with this little presentation I've started for this. So Empress prioritizes interfacility transfers over 911 emergencies in Yonkers. And what I mean by that is that Empress has contracts with nursing homes and hospitals where they transfer patients. So while they transfer those patients, they get paid for that. Now, if they're not getting paid for that, they're not going to go do that. So give me one sec. Hospitals where they all right. So patients. The way that they do it is that they have certain amount of units out there according to staffing, and they send these units out to do these interfacility transfers. They can vary from the Bronx all the way to Staten Island to the Bronx. It doesn't always have to be in Yonkers because they are a private organization now. Is allowed to operate anywhere that they want. Empress does not fulfill contract agreement in dedicating ambulances to the city. They are required to have a certain amount of ambulances at a time in the city, and it's obvious that they do not because of the response times. The number is uncertain. I've never gotten the number. The number doesn't really matter to me of how many units are supposed to be dedicated to the city, and the reason for that is that, and there should be no delayed response times for any other reason. The city of Yonkers does not pay Empress EMS for its services, and what I mean by that is that under their contract, the city doesn't pay Empress. How Empress makes their money is off your insurance. If you get hurt in a car accident or you trip and fall or anything that requires you to be transported by Empress EMS in the city of Yonkers, you have insurance, they bill your insurance. Now, if you don't have insurance, that's where we talk about why they're picking interfacility transfers over 911 calls in Yonkers. Because with interfacility transfers, they get paid. With going to a 911 emergency in Yonkers, it's a 50-50. You might be pulling up to a patient who doesn't have insurance, and there goes free service, pretty much. So Empress diverts ambulances to interfacility transfers off of 911 calls. Now, this is not something I've heard from someone else. This is not something that I just made up. This is something I've heard and seen with my own eyes. Before we stopped going to all the scenes and recording live, we had to listen to the police radio, fire radio, EMS radio in order to know what was going on and to know where we were going. So in those times where we were listening to the radios, we would hear Empress diverting units off of 911 emergencies to interfacility transfers. And how I know that was going down was because there's no emergency at no hospital where the hospital can't handle. So the ambulance is going to the hospital to do a transfer. They tell you it's all over the radio. They're probably going to stop doing that after today. Fire and police units are held up for long periods of time, preventing them to respond to other calls, sometimes higher priority calls. I'm about to show you that. I'm going to skip number 6. We're going to go to this. All right. So this was a presentation I was going to post on the page, but I decided not to. So right here, the blue dot is Empress. That's it states. and the red dot is the fire department. So Empress and the fire department were both dispatched. Excuse me, Empress was dispatched at 9:28 a.m. Right, and in the blue dot there are AC1. Dispatch on the first arrow is 9:28 a.m. Arrived at 10:01 a.m. That's a 34-minute response time for an ambulance. What's the excuse for that? The excuse, who knows? This was a medical emergency. This was a priority call, and you call 911. Any call to 911 is priority, right? I would think so. So you would treat that as is and make sure that those units that you're supposed to have in the city are freed up and not doing interfacility transfers, making you your money instead of doing what you're supposed to do. If you don't want to do 911 emergencies, get out of there. Go somewhere else and do that. Stop risking the lives of residents in the city of Yonkers. That's unacceptable. 34 minutes. Imagine you get shot in the city of Yonkers and you're going to wait 34 minutes for an ambulance. You'll probably bleed out by then. Forget about that. That's why. And St. Joseph's is very popular for walk-ins. People just want to walk themselves or take the cab or a personal vehicle to the hospital because they don't want to wait for the ambulance. They already know what's up. So, and the sad part is St. Joseph's is not fit for that. None of the hospitals in Yonkers are fit for any traumatic injury. So anyways, going on to the next one is going to be, it's going to take a little while. All right. So this is a 26-minute response time. You can see that as well as the ambulance, the fire department was dispatched. This was to a fire-related call. So the ambulance was dispatched at 18:26:01. That's 6:26 p.m. And then they arrived at 18:52:43, which would be 6:52 p.m. As again, they are under AC1. Arrived at 6:52 p.m. and then 6:26 dispatched. What's the excuse for that? As you can see, half of the fire department is already there, so it's a priority emergency. As quick as the police department arrives and the fire department, it should be as expected from Empress to arrive at the time at a reasonable time, 4 to 8 minute response times, and that's obviously. I have the proof. Everybody was talking crap about how I didn't have the proof. I didn't want to show the proof. Here it is. I'm showing it so everyone can see the proof. It's ridiculous, and the reason it's happening is because they see they're not making money from half of the people in Yonkers that cannot afford health insurance, don't know where to start with health insurance. There's a lot of people out there that struggle, and can't afford insurance. So Empress is seeing that, and they're like, oh, hey, let's send this unit over to St. Joseph's and have that patient transferred to whatever hospital in Brooklyn. I've seen it happen. And it's not okay. These units are supposed to be in the city of Yonkers, ready to respond to these calls. And it's alarming because nobody's talking about it. And I can tell you why no one is talking about it. Who oversees Empress EMS? Your infamous Nick Spano, who is the founder and owner of Empire Strategic Planning. For some weird reason, they oversee Empress now and the Minervas. So Nick Spano, coincidentally, the brother of our beloved Mayor Mike Spano, is the one that is running Empress. So remember when I said Empress does not make any money from the city? The city does not pay Empress for its services. So are you getting there now? Are you understanding where I'm getting at? So Empire Strategic Planning is run and operated and owned, founded by Nick Spano, who has history of corruption. Anyways, so Empire Strategic Planning this is how they represent themselves. All right, so Empire Strategic Plan is a full-service bipartisan government affairs consulting firm specializing in government, legislative, advocacy, public affairs, and business development. Founded in 2007, ESP has quickly become one of the top lobbying firms in New York State. Why is there a lobbying firm running a emergency medical service agency? Why is that happening? Shouldn't these be trained professionals that are experienced in lives and emergencies? These are politicians that are a law firm and run an emergency medical service agency. I've never seen that anywhere else. Not in Florida, not in New York, not anywhere. And I can tell you, I'm very well involved in the emergency service field, and I've never seen a law firm run an emergency medical service company. It just doesn't make sense. ESP utilizes its experience in state and local government to assist clients in navigating the maze of government and regulatory agencies to help them achieve their goals. So now we're on that sentence. So there's other agencies that respond to the city of Yonkers because Empress cannot keep up with the response times. What they do is they have ambulances from Scarsdale, they have ambulances from not Eastchester because Eastchester doesn't tolerate that. They value the lives of their residents and they will not send their ambulance out somewhere else. Anyways, Scarsdale, they have ambulances from Yorktown, Ossining, White Plains. These are cities and towns that have their own stuff that they're dealing with, and now they're responding to the city of Yonkers to help Empress keep up with something that they should have absolutely no problem with. Staffing is not the problem, and their fleet is not their problem. They have one of the most state-of-the-art fleets now, and they have their EMTs and paramedics are very well trained, and some of the best. So this is nothing about them. With over 8 decades of combined government, so since 2007, you have over 8 decades of combined government relations experience. ESP has the ability to effectively and efficiently guide clients through the state's legislative, regulatory, and political process while helping to shape public policy to our clients' advantage. So our clients' advantage. So remember when I was telling you that other agencies come into Yonkers to keep up with Empress slack? So Empress has recently hired a law firm. No, not for the recent hack of over 300,000 patients, but they hired a law firm to block other agencies from coming into Yonkers to offer help with emergency medical services. I'll tell you the problems in a second. But let's remember what I just said. They hired a law firm. A law firm hired a law firm to block other agencies that can actually keep up with their crap to prevent them from helping keep up with medical emergencies in the city of Yonkers. So does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. Why is it happening? That's right, because ESP, the owner of ESP, Nick Spano, the beloved brother of our beloved mayor, Mike Spano, is the biggest campaign supporter to the Mike Spano campaign. So there's not a slap on the wrist. There's nothing going to happen. So let's go back to this. So 1826, 6:26 p.m. that day. I'm not gonna tell you the call where it's at because that it would be fucked up. Excuse my language. Anyways, 6:26 p.m. they arrived. Right? They were just They arrived at 6:52 p.m. after being dispatched at 6:26 p.m. I think this was actually the call where they were dispatched requested by the fire department to respond to this call. And after quite some time, they asked where the ambulance was, and when they received the phone call from whoever the 911 dispatchers were, Empress was like, We don't have that call. The call is there. It's on the call on that sheet right there stating when that was made. That's stuff that's put into the system. It's not stuff that's handwritten where anybody could write whatever. So this stuff is more accurate than what's going on at Empress, and it's not okay. So back to the fact, from 6:26 p.m. to 6:52 p.m. Think about it. Those units that could have probably already been back to their station or handling other emergencies throughout the city in their respective districts were tied up because they were waiting for Empress. Same as this call right here, the 34-minute response time in the No Dine Hill section. Why was an engine company tied up for 34 minutes while Empress was lagging around? Oh, wait, I didn't mention this. That ambulance that arrived to that call in No Dine Hill section that was dispatched at 9:28 a.m. and arrived at 10:01 a.m., that wasn't even an Empress ambulance. That was from another city. So imagine that, 34 minutes response times. That engine company that serves all of No Dine Hill section was tied up. And I know at that time of the day, it's busy. So they had other calls in their district and much higher priority calls than that, and they couldn't respond to that. So guess what the fire department has to do? They have to go dispatch another company from the other side of town or the next district over to respond to that call that unit is a lot more closer to, because that's in their jurisdiction. So now you're tying up more units because the time and response times add up. The wait time goes up. You have an engine company asking, where's the ambulance? Where's the ambulance? Where's the ambulance? And no freaking ambulance is showing up. You're giving a call to Empress and where's the ambulance? Oh, we didn't know about the call. Whatever. All right. So let's go to this. That's where it comes to asking for less oversight in their new contract. So Empress is currently right now asking, they're at their time where they renew their contract with the city of Yonkers. I'm going to stop saying Empress because it's not really Empress. It's Empire Strategic Planning, run by Nick Spano. So it's a brother-brother transaction. That's why I had the Stop Corruption logo underneath Nick, in case anybody saw that. So anyways, Empress is at the time where they're supposed to renew their contract, right, for the city of Yonkers. And in their new contract, they are asking for less oversight. So what that means is that the city will require less and will require less requirements to meet that contract. So that means, let's say they have 6 ambulances that they're supposed to have in the city at all times. With the less oversight and the less requirements, they don't have to meet that standard. And then minimum of 4 to 8 minute response times throughout the entire city will rise, as it has risen already, because of the less oversight. So you have less ambulances, the response times is going to go up more. You're going to have ambulances like from Ossining responding, Yorktown, Scarsdale, and I can confirm that because I have people that have experienced this. Patients, employees that have left these agencies because they don't see what's going on and the treatment that's going on because they open their mouths, and it's not okay. So, like I said, guys, a law firm hired a law firm to block other agencies from helping offer emergency medical services in the city of Yonkers. And that is because Yonkers does not pay Empress for anything. In reality, these instances, cities and counties would have to pay millions of dollars for services that Empress is providing. It's money. That's how it works. It's a triangle. You have to pay for your services. Nothing is free. But in this case, it is free service. They make their money off of patients. It's not supposed to be like that. So a lot of people are asking, should the Yonkers Fire Department take over EMS? I've asked. I won't get a straightforward answer, which is fine, understandable. My personal opinion, no. Maybe the city can create their own agency, um, but it would bring a lot of profit to the park to have their own EMS, the way that FDNY runs it. But that's my personal opinion. A lot of people say yes, the Yonkers Fire Department should run their own EMS. They have a really good EMS system. They have their certified first responder system. That's to why fire engines always arrive to emergency medical calls first. It's part of it, just like the police department, ESU members or CFR. That's another thing. ESU, Emergency Service Unit, from the police department, they're not just the SWAT guys. They're not just breaking down. They're not just handling disturbed people or doing whatever it is that you usually see them doing. They're also trained paramedics, trained EMTs. So that's why sometimes you see them at calls with the fire department. You see them go to car accidents. You see them deal with patients just like paramedics would, because these are actually trained paramedics as well as some firefighters and EMTs. They're certified first responders. They arrive. Now, my point is those are other people that are being held up by Empress because they arrive first. They have to render aid until Empress arrives to be able to take over to transport them. And it's not only the fire engine or whoever else is on scene. Now, you see the fly cars. The fly cars, those Dodge Chargers or the Ford Explorers you see Empress responding around with, some of them are supervisors, some of them are paramedics. So originally when that system started out, which was when I was around Empress a lot, not working, but I was a photographer, videographer, as I am still. So I used to take photos, document stuff, and do all that stuff as a hobby. So anyways, before they implemented the fly car system, they didn't have a fly car system. So when they implemented the fly car system, the intent was to be able to provide a faster service in case an advanced life support unit or another regular unit was able to respond to that call. Now, it's gotten so money hungry to where those paramedics are sometimes taken off of those fly cars and put on an ambulance to go satisfy a interfacility transfer instead of having that paramedic on an ambulance. If you're already short staffed, put that paramedic on an ambulance and have them respond to emergency medical calls. Wouldn't that be the obvious thing to do? No. Why? Because you don't know if you're going to go to that patient and they have an insurance or not. So it's a hit or miss. You get what I'm saying? If you're going to this interfacility transfer, you know you're going to be able to invoice that nursing home or your extended stay or whatever you want to call it, and they're going to get paid for it. That's I'm not saying that's what it 100% is, but that's what my theory is, and that's what it looks like to everyone else that I have. Like I said, I've been doing this research for over a year, and I've done several episodes already on City Talk for it, and I've also done some stories on it on Inside Yonkers. So you can backtrack all the way to 2018 to backtrack that. Anyways, so it's gonna act silly today. All right. This is why I wrote Stop Corruption. Because why is a law firm hiring a law firm to block other agencies from providing a better service to the residents of Yonkers? It's easy. It's not that hard to figure it out. Why are these ambulances taking over 20, 25, 30, 40, 45 minutes to respond to emergencies? So there was a shooting a couple of weeks ago in the city of Yonkers. I forgot to bring the video. I'm not looking for it. But there was a shooting a couple of weeks ago in Yonkers, and you can watch the whole live video. The live video is on Facebook, and you can watch how long and clueless some of these not I'm not trying to lowball cops or any of that, because God bless our Yonkers police officers, but they're trained to a certain extent with the law. They're not paramedics. They're not all paramedics. They're not all EMTs. Mostly the ESU members are. So these officers, can have tourniquet kits and stuff like that, but they're trained in that field to a certain extent, not like paramedics, firefighters, or EMTs. So these officers arrived, and they tried their best to make sure this gunshot victim was okay. So until the ambulance arrived. But in the video, you can see how long the ambulance took to arrive. As a matter of fact, the video ended before the ambulance arrived. That's not okay. It was over 6 minutes. 6 minutes should be no reason it should be over 6 minutes. You have a so-called unique state-of-art system and state-of-art dispatch system. Don't let those TV shows where they premiered on fool you. That's all up front. Their units change. Everything changed. It's up front. I didn't even watch it because it was disgusting. Anyways, it shouldn't. It's frustrating because an agency that has so much potential is being so money hungry. Not even the agency, the people that run it. "34 minutes." So this call is one of the proofs that I had first. Imagine this was you. Imagine this was your loved one. And you call 911. And they tell you they're on their way. Usually it's not even Empress that answers first. It's usually the police department that answers first, or the fire department. Mostly the police department, then they transfer over your call, or they transfer over the call. That's how it usually works, which is another story for another day. And you see the fire department was dispatched on 9:27. They arrived at 9:31. That's freaking awesome. That's phenomenal. That's one of the best response times in the country is from Yonkers Fire Department. Why can't we get that from Empress? So if this was you, this was your loved one, anyone, your neighbor, you wouldn't want to see this happening. 34 minutes, because you have to think about it. That ambulance, you call one, that ambulance, they'll tell you it's responding, but the ambulance could be coming from Ossining. So what's quicker? Walk outside, grab your car, or walk to St. Joseph's, John's, Lawrence, wherever part of the city you are in, to get treated. But let's say you have a really pretty serious injury, possibly a traumatic injury, broken bones, you are shot, you're stabbed. There's many other things that can, seconds matter. So while you're doing that, you end up in the hospital and it's too late. Then the doctors have to tell your family why it was too late. The ambulance never showed up. Think about it. It makes a difference. We need to ask ourselves when we go vote who we are voting for, because now it's money over lives. Money over lives at Empress. I have nothing against the EMTs. I have nothing against the paramedics. No one there. I have a problem with who's running the system and who's allowing it. That will be the Minerva brothers. That will be the Spanos. And I'm only going to say 3 Spanos. And I have nothing against people. Everybody knows me for that. I don't talk trash about people. I've always kept an unbiased platform. But when it's time to call your ass out, I'm going to do it. Nick Spano, John Spano, Mike Spano. This shit has to stop. We are risking lives. You guys are risking lives. I'm not involved in that. You guys are risking lives for money. And it's not okay. 34 minutes. What if that was a Spano? I tell you no. Want to know why? You call 911 when you tell me you're Spano. They got the helicopter from Miami-Dade Fire Rescue on that backyard in 2 seconds. I guarantee you. I've seen it. Avoid the Bronx River Parkway, by the way. 3-car MVA with injuries, possible extrication. Anyways, back to the point. Why can't we get the same treatment? Why do we have to wait 34 minutes for an ambulance to arrive? 34 minutes. Now, excuse me. Remember the point where I was making where you might have to drive yourself to the hospital and it might be too late. It might be a traumatic injury. Going to St. Joseph's, going to John's, going to Lawrence. Those are not hospitals that are qualified for traumatic injuries. So you go there, and this is very unfortunate. I've gone to scenes right across, not even across, right in the parking lot of St. Joseph's Hospitals for shootings. And you're going to go to the hospital there. St. Joseph's, right? They've not made it. There's people that have gone from School Street, don't want to wait for the ambulance to go to St. Joseph's and have passed away. Elm Street, Ludlow, all the North Hill sections, people are victims of that. So these hospitals are not. The nearest hospitals are Westchester Medical Center and Jacoby Medical Center. Those are the two hospitals that are qualified to handle gunshot victims, traumatic injuries, and stabbing victims, which is traumatic injuries. So imagine that. You also got to get transported from a hospital in your city to a hospital in another city because those hospitals aren't qualified to treat your type of injury, and you already can't rely on the damn ambulance. It's a whole setup. We're being left for dead. It don't make no freaking sense. It's frustrating. So, this call is not the same. This one right here, we're going to go back to this one. It's not the same call, but I've gone to one similar in the city of Yonkers off of McLean a few years ago. It was 3 years ago, I remember, because it was the week of my mom's funeral. But anyways, I went to a call similar to this. I'm not going to tell you the type of call, but the type of call the fire department responded to and Empress was dispatched to was a call where there was victims. There was victims that needed to be treated as soon as possible who were not transported to hospitals in our city. They were transported to Jacoby Medical Center. Anyways, there were children involved in this too. They were left almost for dead in their apartment. And with what was in their apartment, they overcame it, and they had, they were found passed out. They needed treatment from Empress, and they were transported to Jacoby Medical Center, all the way in the Bronx. Imagine during rush hour. But that was on the weekend morning, so not too much traffic. Anyways, the point is these are lives that are being risked. So let's say at this call, they were dispatched at 6:26. They arrived at 6:52. I know for a fact that the fire department doesn't call Empress unless there's victims. So in this case, there were victims. But those victims had to wait 26 minutes to be treated. 26 minutes to be treated. Just like the 34-minute response time I showed you guys first. 34 minutes. That patient had to wait 34 minutes to be seen by an ambulance. And then depending on their injury, where they're going to be transported, that's another added delay. Imagine what's going in their system if they actually have something wrong with them. They're getting worse by the second, and an ambulance delay is causing it to get worse. So something that can be prevented within seconds might not be able to be prevented by the time you get to the hospital. Why? Because there's no ambulance. When you call 911, I guarantee you an ambulance is going to arrive in Yonkers. But the question is when. And that's scary to think that you have to ask that. You shouldn't have to ask when the ambulance is going to arrive. There shouldn't be other dispatchers from other agencies asking you when the requested ambulances are going to be arriving, and you tell them that, oh, we never got a call from that. It's on the sheet. It's right there in the sheet. 6:26 p.m. You guys received the call. We need an ambulance. Send one. And they arrived at 6:52. Not from even Yonkers. So there's an ambulance. There's a call in the city of Yonkers last month, and the fire department waited over 45 minutes. I can't show you that sheet because it's a whole mixture of stuff, and I don't want to violate anybody's privacy. That's why these were also a little hard for me to show, because they're really sensitive information, but these things need to be brought up. So like I said, thanks everyone for your help. Anyways, I switched the screen. I lost myself. Anyways, 34-minute response times and nothing's being done. So these incidents have been brought up by other agencies, union officials, other cities. Other cities are asking, why do we keep getting called from Yonkers to send ambulances that we need in our own district to go help you guys? You guys are a bigger agency. Why are you guys asking us for help? And those are the exact words of people I've talked to before doing this. People saw I was doing a story on this and called me. I didn't do this voluntarily. People called me, and what I'm going to do as Anderson, everyone that knows me, I'm going to speak up for them. Want to know why? Because if they can't speak up, it's for a reason, and that's why I'm speaking up for them. So this is why this is my case. No one else is bringing it up. No one has the facts like I do. I'm not in competition. I'm just letting it be known. When I bring something up on Inside Yonkers, it's because it's true. I don't make crap up, okay? So what are we going to do with Empress? What can we do with Empress? We can bring and ask questions. Want to know why? Because my questions keep getting deleted. My news gathering team, people from Inside Yonkers, their comments, questions are being ignored, deleted, blocked. I was already blocked. I don't know why. It's a genuine question. Tell us, give us some bullshit at least. You guys are messed up with staffing or what's going on. That's not the truth, but at least some agencies, most agencies respond. They don't want to respond to me. I tag them, email them, nothing. A proper way of doing that would be representing yourself, speaking up for yourself, because you guys got to remember, you guys started in Yonkers, Empress. Remember you started in Yonkers. Don't forget that. You guys are grown and growing because of the citizens of Yonkers. That's where you made your money first. So back to the 45-minute response time. The fire department kept calling Empress, where was the ambulance? Where's the ambulance? Where's the ambulance? And it's on its way, and it's on its way. It didn't show up for 48 minutes. And it was an ambulance from Ossining. The ambulance from Ossining is a Ossining Volunteer Ambulance Corps ambulance staffed with Empress EMS staff. How that works is the city or town that they serve provides the vehicle and they provide the staffing, and Empress makes money off of the staffing. And that's how they pay their EMTs and paramedics to serve those towns like Yorktown, I believe Hawthorne, I'm not sure they're still there, Pelham Manor, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, White Plains. I could go on. Those are actually, by the way, those are cities that they won't take any of those ambulances out. Want to know why? Because those cities, they're losing. They're losing. Like they've had lost Mount Vernon before. They lost Mount Vernon because they couldn't keep up, and they're back in Mount Vernon now, and they still can't keep up because they're calling ambulances from other cities and towns that are tolerating this to go rescue them. So this ambulance arrived from Austining, and imagine how far is Austining from that street? It's over 30 minutes. I know that for a fact. So 48 minutes they arrived after the initial request for the ambulance. So imagine, remember, you have to deal with traffic, you got to deal with all that stuff, and you're passing Scarsdale, you're passing Hastings, you're passing Elmsford, Ardsley, you're passing all these cities and towns, and you got an ambulance coming from all the way from Austining. So this patient had a traumatic injury. It did worsen. It worsened a lot because of the 48-minute delayed response from Empress. And it amazes me that no one's saying anything. No one has said anything. It's not cool. So that's why I'm going to say something. And things need to change, hopefully. But how are things going to change when you have Empire Strategic Planning, owned and operated by Nick Spano, John Spano, running Empress, who does not charge the city of Yonkers for any of its services? That's rare. What private organization works for a city and doesn't charge for its services? It doesn't make sense. You have Empire Strategic Planning going under over Empress, and Empress being their Mike Spano's biggest campaign supporter. So why would you try to give or speak to this agency that's your biggest campaign supporter? You're going to lose them or risk losing them because you're going to go address an issue that the residents of Yonkers are bringing up, right? So, and then at that, your brother, you go sit down at the family tree, and have some Jack Daniels and talk. Hey, what's going on at Empress, man? It's that simple. It's really that simple. Why can't you do that? What's going on at Empress? Let's tighten up, man. That's where we originally started at. Let's not screw that up. Let's do right. We're making money everywhere else, right? All these developments and stuff like that. So why not do right? These are lives. These aren't buildings you're building every freaking where. These are not lots you're buying every freaking planning board meeting. These are lives, man. You need to sit down and talk about this. And I can tell you that there's been meetings. There's been questions asked. What's going on? Why is this happening? And there's no questions being answered. Why? Because they don't feel like they need to answer to everyone else around there. They're doing everything that they want, whatever they want. That's why they're asking for less oversight. They're going to be not required to have as many requirements as they have now in the new contract. They're not going to have a certain amount of things, whatever. And it shouldn't be that way. It should actually be more now because people are saying something about this. And yes, a failed Empress. That's what I give Empress, is a big fat fail. Excuse me. So we need people to listen up. We need people to share this. We need people to ask questions. We need people to ask questions. Why are lives being played with? Because that's what they're being played with. Empire City Casino, another corrupt organization. They pay for an Empress ambulance and staffing. There's at least four to five people at Empire Casino all day long. They pay Empress for that service. So why is Empire City Casino paying Empress? Everyone else is paying Empress but Yonkers. because Mike Spano is the mayor. You're not going to charge your brother. You're doing your brother a favor. At least that's what it looks like. If you don't want it to look that way, come on this podcast and talk to me. I want to hear why Empress is doing this and what's the reason. And I don't want to hear staffing. That's really the excuse that can be given, and it's not a logical excuse because you're opening up all these schools and academies and stuff. You have the money for the staffing. So what's going on? Why don't you do more recruiting retention in Yonkers if staffing is an issue for you? And you guys post job postings. We put it on the Inside Yonkers full-time, part-time jobs group. We put it on our main page, Twitter, Instagram, everything. We support you guys, but like I said, when something's odd, we're gonna call it out. Why is a law firm running an emergency medical service agency? It was never like that. So originally, Miss Minerva is the one where her husband founded Empress years ago, before I was even around. So they ran the agency. They ran it pretty good. A lot of people liked it. And then I guess in 2000 whatever, when the SP took over, isn't it coincidence that Nick Spano seeing whatever? Anyways, ESP took over, and Nick Spano, as the owner, took control over Empress. So now they have Empire Strategic Planning that supposedly has all this experience in running governmental agencies and planning and doing all this other stuff. How does a law firm of politicians have experience in running an emergency medical service agency? I know if I'm a politician, I'm gonna stick to politics. If I'm corrupt, I'm corrupt. If I'm not, I'm not. But I have no business running a group, an agency that lives are at risk with, and for money. There's other ways, other things you can go do, like do your corrupt developments. Keep doing that, but now you're just risking lives. At what cost? At the cost of the residents of the city of Yonkers. And honestly, it's soon going to be to those of Mount Vernon. It already is actually in Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, who they can't keep up with. And New Rochelle has 3 ambulances. Mount Vernon has supposedly 2 or 3, whatever. They still can't keep up. Those are small cities. They can't keep up because they're not strategically doing what they're supposed to do, according to everyone that's seeing this crap. But Empire Strategic Planning thinks that they are running the top premier New York State private-owned emergency medical services agency, and it's not the truth. People, they try to go anywhere else, they'll be laughed at. And this is from experience, and I know it. They're going to be laughed at. Not the EMTs, not the paramedics, the people that run this crap. Why is a law firm running an EMS agency? You're not only not putting the residents at risk, you're putting firefighters at risk. You're putting police officers at risk. You want to know why? Because these are people that have to deal with the delayed responses. These are people that you don't know how they're running their organization. You don't even know if they're sending these people out appropriately. It needs accountability. We need accountability. How about that? Accountability from ESP and Empress. Empress is an agency with potential, a lot of potential, lots of it. They got some of the most awesome EMTs and paramedics. There's nothing about them. They know that. The ones that know me and watch this, they know that. Nothing about them. It's about this guy on my screen. let's talk about something. I want to know if you were if you were a paramedic or an EMT, would you work for Empress? Honestly, I hear a lot of people say no. Why? Because Empress doesn't pay well, and Empress treats their employees like crap. So that's why when I said one of the only excuses that they can possibly say is staffing. So I give them the benefit of the doubt there. As a business owner, staffing could be a problem, and it can cost you some stuff. But what's being done about that? That's when I say, answer us, answer our questions. Come on here, talk to us, or email us back at least. We're all ears. But when you're deleting our comments, blocking my guys and my staff, it looks weird. It looks suspicious. It looks like you're hiding something. You don't want us to hold you accountable for the things that are going on. You're already getting pressure from other people, and I know that. So you're gonna get that pressure from me, and you're gonna get that pressure from City Talk inside Yonkers, and that will until I get some answers, or I can start hearing from people that these are improving. You know, we need accountability from Emperors. We need to know why these response times are so high. Well, we know, but we want to hear it from them. We know that it's because they're sending units that are supposed to be responding to emergency medical calls in our city to inter-facility transfers. You go Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, you go to Connecticut, Jersey, wherever the money takes them, they're going to take it. And if they don't have that unit, but if they do have that unit and it's a unit that's for the city of Yonkers, but that money's good, they're going to take it. That's what they're trained to do it. They call, the nursing home facilities call, they do the non-emergency number, our private line for transfers straight to the Empress Communications Center, and their dispatchers, yeah, we have a unit because it's already a set price. Bada bing bing. They send that unit, and that unit is gone for however long because they're gonna take a meal in between. They're gonna do work. They're gonna the drive time. They have to probably go to the station to fuel up before that long transport. It's a whole bunch of things that adds up that can equal to the delayed response times, and it all comes down to risking lives. Risking lives. It's unacceptable. It's not cool, man. An agency with so much potential, you know. So there's a undisclosed town right now. I'm not saying the name because it's in motion. Empress hired a law firm. Like I said, a law firm hiring a law firm. Well, Empire Strategic Planning hired a law firm. A law firm hiring a law firm to block a particular town from providing services to the city of Yonkers. Added services. So Empress has a system where they do heart attack checks at homes, something like that. And there's other agencies that want to provide that service, but Empress has hired Empire Strategic Planning has hired a law firm to block that. So why? Okay, so I'll tell you why. Because that is money to Empress from the insurance company, and they don't want to share that money. Just like they don't want anyone else to come in and take over with a better system to do their 911 calls. Because they know that other agency will charge the city of Yonkers. Because that's what's supposed to happen. That's how a system works. As a business owner, I'm not going to provide a free service to a city without getting paid. It doesn't work like that. How am I going to be able to pay my staff? I pay my staff doing interfacility transfers because I know 911 calls, I'm a hit or miss. But they meet that they go to the calls because it's in their contract. They're required to. It's not always that you're gonna get somebody without insurance, but I'm just saying it's a risk, and it's why they prioritize interfacility transfers over this. Now, I'm not saying that they would send a unit off a shooting or a stabbing to an interfacility transfer. Hell no, they don't have the balls to do that. But the thing is by the time that they've sent other units to those interfacility transfers that are meant to be first responders faster to that shooting or stabbing, now you have a unit that's from further away responding to that instead of that unit that was posted up and those assigned posts throughout the city that's on an interfacility transfer. It's already to the shooting. They didn't send it to the shooting. They went to the money making interfacility transfer. Now you have a unit 15 minutes away going to that because the unit originated for that is that where you know it's going to make a shooting. Nobody's going to be, hey, here's my insurance card. Here's my insurance card. Can you get this bullet hole out of me right now? Here's my insurance card. Here's my ID, all this stuff. There's no time for that. So that takes time after the paramedics and EMTs get them to the hospital. They do all that stuff afterwards. This is already paid for when you call in a facility transfer. Yeah, all right, I'm sending an ambulance out there. I've seen it. I've been in the field before. And it's a bid. It's a bidding war. There's other private agencies out there that do the same thing with interfacility transfers. I've never seen another agency out there pick and choose what they want to send their units to. But my point is that there's no other agencies that do this. There's other agencies that have their prices and they'll either outbid or not outbid Empress. Empress wins the bid for that transport. They go. They do it. That's one less unit in the city of Yonkers. So the town of Pelham and the city of Pelham have no ambulance. They have ambulance service that's provided per contract with Empress. They have a paramedic fly card that is 24/7 staff 24/7, provides service to them at all times. It's supposed to arrive before the ambulance. And the reason it's supposed to arrive before the ambulance is because majority of the time that ambulance is coming from Mount Vernon or Yonkers. So remember when I said that one less ambulance means added response time? This is where if we lose an ambulance going to Pelham from Yonkers, something goes down in Yonkers, someone's loved one needs an ambulance in Yonkers, there's going to be a much further ambulance coming to your call because that ambulance that was closer posted up to you is now over in Pelham handling possibly a less priority, or let's give them a benefit of doubt, much priority, higher priority call. But that's not the case, right? It's still that you have one less ambulance, and if you get shot or have a traumatic injury or whatever, for whatever reason, it doesn't even matter if it's a traumatic injury. You shouldn't be waiting so long for an ambulance. And I'm not done with this, guys. So I'm out of time. Thank you for everyone that's been providing me information, helping me with this research. I'm going to do a part 2 of this. I run out of time. I'm a father. I have to go do dad things. Thank you for everyone that asked me to do this and are watching and have came in, tuned in, and all that cool stuff. Guys, thank you. Anderson Flan Sr., your host at City Talk, founder, owner of Inside Yonkers. Thank you.